Hello everyone, welcome to yet another video lecture. In this video, we are going to explore how to install and configure Prometheus on Ubuntu 22.04. Now, Prometheus is a free and open source monitoring solution for monitoring metrics, events, and alerts. It collects and records metrics from various systems such as servers, containers, and even applications. In addition to providing a flexible query language, also known as PromQL, and powerful visualization tools, it also provides an alerting mechanism that sends notifications where needed. Now, to get started with this tutorial, ensure that you have an instance of Ubuntu 22.04 server with a sudo user account already configured. Now, with us here, we already have an instance of Ubuntu 22.04, which is already deployed on Cherry Servers. Now, Cherry Servers is a leading European cloud infrastructure provider that is committed to offering private and secure cloud infrastructure to small and medium businesses at a cost-effective fee. All right, so now we are going to demonstrate step by step how to install Prometheus on Ubuntu 22.04. So just to confirm that we are running Ubuntu 22.04, on the terminal I'm going to run the command lsb release -a. All right, so you can see we are running the latest version of Ubuntu 22.04. All right, so now the first step is to update the local apt cache, and to do so, run the command sudo apt update, hit enter. All right, so now you can see we are updating the local package index. So this should just take a few seconds and we are done. All right. So the next step, we are going to create a system user for Prometheus. Now to do so, we are first of all going to create a group and then add the user to the group. All right. So now to create the group, on the command line, run the command sudo group add -- system and then Prometheus. So now this command creates a system group called Prometheus. So hit enter. Now the next step is to create a system user called Prometheus. So run the command sudo user add -s. So here we are going to specify the login shell. So since this is a non-login user, we are going to have sbin no login, like that. And then system, we're going to specify system for the system user -g. So we're going to add the Prometheus user to the Prometheus group, like that. Okay, so hit enter. All right, so here we have created a system group and we have created a system user and added the user, which is Prometheus, to the same group called Prometheus. Okay, now let's go over to step 3. Now in step 3, we are going to create directories for Prometheus. Now we need to store configuration files and libraries for Prometheus, and to do so we need to create a few directories. Okay, now to do so we are going to run the command sudo mkdir for make directory. So the first directory you're going to create it in the etc directory, and you're going to call this directory Prometheus. All right, hit enter. Okay, now the other directory you're going to create will be in the var lib directory. So once again we have sudo mkdir /var lib Prometheus. So this directory is going to contain the libraries for Prometheus. Okay, so here we have Prometheus. Okay, So this directory will contain the configuration files, while this other directory here is going to contain the libraries for Prometheus. All right. Okay, now let's go over to step 4. Now, in this step, we are going to download the Prometheus binary from the official Prometheus downloads page. Okay, now head over to your browser and Google Prometheus download. So here I already have opened the Prometheus download search. So I'm going to click the download link here. Okay, so now this takes me here to the download section. Now you need to scroll all the way down and download this turbo file or the compressed file. So I'm going to copy the link. So here I'm going to select copy link address. Okay, now with that at hand, I'm going to go back to the terminal and I'm going to use the wget command and I'm going to paste the link. Okay, so now that's the link for downloading the Prometheus compressed file. So I'm going to hit enter, and as you can see on your screen, the download has been completed. Okay, so let me clear the screen. So I'm going to use the ls-l command, and as you can see here, we have already downloaded the Prometheus binary file. All right, now once the download has been completed, the next step is to extract the contents of the downloaded file. So we're going to use the tar command. Okay, so we're going to have xvf and then followed by the compressed file name. So hit enter, and as you can see on the screen, this extracts various files. All right, so I'm going to clear this. So when you run the ls-l command, now you can see we have an additional folder called Prometheus. All right, so we can just preview the contents of the directory. Okay, so you can see it contains various files and directories. All right, and a configuration file called prometheus.yaml. All right, now moving on, in step 5 we are going to navigate to the Prometheus directory. So I'm going to clear the screen. So I'm going to navigate to the Prometheus directory. Okay, so cd Prometheus. All right, now in this section we are going to see how to configure Prometheus. All right, so now the first step is to move all the binary files and configure the appropriate file ownership. All right, so now the first step, we are going to move the Prometheus. We're going to move some of the binaries. So first of all, let me check what we have here. So we are going to move the Prometheus file, which is this one here, and the Prometheus file. Okay, so to do so, we are going to run the command sudo mv for move. So here we have Prometheus. Sudo mv Prometheus. Prometheus. So here we are going to move it to the user local bin. Okay, so hit enter. All right, so the other file we need to move is the Prometheus file, which is this one here. Okay, so here we're going to edit this to Prometheus like that. So here I'm going to press enter as well. All right, so now we're going to set the ownership to Prometheus, to use Prometheus and group Prometheus. So we're going to use the chown command. So here again, we're going to have sudo chown, so Prometheus. So user Prometheus, group Prometheus, and then we have user local bin Prometheus. Okay, so hit enter. All right, and in the same vein, apply the same ownership to the prom tool file like that, and hit enter. All right, so we have moved the binary and binary files in the directory, and we have configured the right file and directory ownerships. All right, now I'm going to clear the screen. Okay, now in this step we are going to move the directories containing the libraries and the Prometheus configuration file and configure the appropriate file and directory permissions and ownerships. So now let me preview what we have left. All right, so now we are going to move these two directories, the console_libraries and the consoles directory, as well as the Prometheus configuration file, to the etc Prometheus directory. And to do so, once again, we're going to use the move command. So here we have sudo mv consoles like that. So we're going to move it to the etc Prometheus directory. Okay, so I'm gonna press enter. So do the same to the console underscore libraries. Okay, so I'm gonna hit enter. So like that. Okay, now do the same for the Prometheus configuration file. So here we have Prometheus YAML file. Okay, so hit enter. All right, so we have moved two directories and the Prometheus configuration file. So now the next step, we're going to configure the right owner file and directory ownerships. So here we're going to have sudo chown Prometheus. So we're going to set this ownership to the etc Prometheus directory, where we have all of required files and directories for Prometheus. So I'm going to hit enter. All right, so in the next step, I'm going to assign the same permissions to the directories. So to do so, I'm going to have sudo chown. All right, so I'm going to use the -r flag for recursive. So here we have Prometheus. Okay, so I'm going to assign this to the consoles directory. So here we have consoles like that. So I'm going to press enter. All right, do the same for the console libraries directory. So here we have console underscore libraries. All right. Okay, and finally, we're going to assign the permission to var lib Prometheus. Okay, then I'm going to hit enter. All right, so we have moved the directories and the configuration file and applied the appropriate file and directory ownership. All right, okay, so I'm going to clear the screen. So the default, or rather the main Prometheus configuration file, as we have seen, is the prometheus.yaml file. Okay, and we can just preview this before moving forward. So I'm going to use the nano editor so that we can see how the file looks like. So here we're going to have Prometheus and then Prometheus.yaml. Alright, so as you can see, this is the main configuration file. So it has various sections. So as you can see, we have the global configuration, we have the alerting section. We can scroll all the way down. So here you can see that by default it listens to port 9090 on localhost. Okay. Alright, so now that was just a preview of the configuration file. Now we're going to exit. Okay, so I'm going to exit like that. Okay, now the next step is to configure the Prometheus systemd service. So we're going to configure Prometheus so that it can be easily managed using systemd. Okay, now I'm going to clear the screen. Okay, so to do so, we are going to first of all create the systemd service file using nano. So here we have sudo nano. So we're going to create it in this path. So etc systemd, then system, then Prometheus. We're going to call it Prometheus dot service. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to copy a configuration file that I've saved on my notepad. So okay, so now here we have the systemd configuration file for Prometheus. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to copy this and paste it here like that. Alright, so I'm going to save the changes by pressing Ctrl O, hit enter, and then exit by pressing Ctrl X. Alright, okay, now I'm going to reload this. I'm going to reload systemd. So we need to reload the system configuration files after saving the Prometheus systemd service, so that the changes are recognized by the system. Alright, so now to do so, I'm going to run the command sudo systemctl daemon reload. Okay, then I'm going to hit enter. Okay, so we have reloaded systemd. Alright, now in the next step, we're going to see how to start and enable the Prometheus service. So let me clear the screen. So to start the Prometheus service using systemd, run the command sudo systemctl start Prometheus, hit enter. Okay, now let's check the status of Prometheus. So here I'm going to edit start to status like that, hit enter. So on your screen we can see that Prometheus is running as expected. Okay, so I'm going to quit. So to enable Prometheus, that is to enable it to start on system boot, run the command sudo systemctl enable Prometheus like that. So in so doing, you're going to configure Prometheus to start every time the system is rebooted or it starts. So I'm going to hit enter. All right, so from our output here, you can see that Prometheus has been configured to start on boot. Okay, all right, now let me clear the screen. The other way that you can check whether Prometheus is running, you can use the ss command. So you can have sudo ss -pnltu, and then we're going to search for port 9090, which is the default port that Prometheus runs. So I'm going to hit enter, and as you can see, we have Prometheus running on port 9090 as expected. All right, so now the next step is to access Prometheus from our web interface. But before we do so, in case you're running UFW firewall and it is enabled, you need to allow this port across the firewall, and you can do so by running the command sudo UFW allow port 9090, which is a TCP port, and hit enter. Okay, now to reload the firewall or to save the changes, just say sudo UFW reload, like that. All right, so here you see that the firewall is not enabled. Okay, but in your case, if the firewall is enabled, you'll get a confirmation that the UFW firewall has been reloaded. All right, so now we are done with installing and configuring Prometheus. Now the last step is we are going to access Prometheus from the web interface. Now, before we can access Prometheus from a web browser, we are first of all going to check our IP address. So to do so, on the terminal, run the command IPA. Okay, so as you can see, this is our public IP address here, okay, which is 5.199.162.165. So we're going to copy this address here. So we're going to copy this, and we're going to open our browser. So I'm going to copy, and I'm going to open my browser. So here I'm going to paste it. Okay, then as we saw earlier, Prometheus runs on port 9090, so I'm going to hit 9090, and as you can see, we have we're going to shortly have the Prometheus welcome page, and this is what we have here. Okay, so this is what you'll get. All right, now we can go over to the status, click status, and navigate to targets, and here you can see we have our localhost system, which is our endpoint here. Okay, and here you can see that it's up. All right, so now let's go back. So we're going to simulate, or we're going to generate a few graphs. So here you're going to hit the graph table, the graph tab. So here I'm going to search for CPU, and I'm going to select the first option here. So I'm going to click the execute button on the far right. All right, and as you can see, we already have generated a graph, okay, for the CPU, the process CPU seconds graph. Okay, now let's try something else. Let's try memory, memstat sysbytes. So I'm going to go with that, and I'm going to click execute, and here you can see we have generated another graph. All right, guys, so that was about it for Prometheus. So in this guide, we have demonstrated how to install Prometheus monitoring solution on Ubuntu 22.04. So that's it, guys, for this video. I hope you found it insightful. So leave a like, subscribe to our channel, and keep it cherry servers for more insightful videos. So see you next time.